Hey everyone. So for my live encounter, I decided to go see my mom's steel drum play at Black Bear Burritos here in Morgantown. My mom's steel drum band name is called Joyous Noise, and they're based out of CB Studios. CB Studios was founded by Chandler Bailey in 2007, and it is a community steel drum program which strives to get people to learn and enjoy the music of another culture in a fun environment. So I guess I guess some information about steel drums for those of you who may not be familiar with what steel drums are is that they were first made in 1946 by a man named Elie Minette from the Caribbean island of Tobago. He made them out of 55-gallon steel oil drums, which all steel drums are still made out of them today. Um, they were brought to the United States in the 1950s and 60s and kind of gained popularity through the educational system by getting played in high school bands and through colleges and other private organizations. And they've kind of become really popular as of late. They've made appearances in a lot of popular songs, such as Nick Jonas's Close, Selena Gomez's Rhyme and Me, and Toby Keith's Rum is the Reason. So, moving on to questions about the performance. The first question asks, what were your emotional response? So, my emotional response to the performance was happiness and joy. Um, I know from previous experiences that I've never really left a steel drum performance sad. It's always had a positive effect on me. Second question asks, what specific images, sounds, and words sparked this response in you? Um, After kind of thinking about it for a while, I think it's a combination of the upbeat Caribbean melody as well as just being around friends and family in a relaxed environment. Like, you just can't really beat that. Um, Third question asks, what do you imagine the creator's intention is with the piece? So, in this particular performance, some of the songs my mom's band played were actually arranged by the owner of CB Studios himself. The songs were Country Roads and Amazing Grace. So, what he normally does is he takes the songs, he listens to them on the radio or Spotify or YouTube, whatever, and then writes the sheet music for it for steel drums, and then adds an own Caribbean twist to it to kind of make it more relatable to steel drums. I imagine this is his intention because he wants people to learn to enjoy a Caribbean style music by combining it with songs that are familiar to us, especially as West Virginians or just people in general with Amazing Grace. Um, Fourth question asked, does this piece seem to have a specific agenda? So the performance I saw seemed to have an emotional and informative agenda. So normally, whenever my mom's band plays in a concert around here, it's for people who've never really heard of steel drums before, or even knew what they were. So the purpose of their concert is to first and foremost evoke an emotional response, maybe open them up to a whole new style of music of which they were not even aware of. And then secondly is also just to inform people on, what a steel drum is and the history of it, and also to serve as a recruiting tool for CB Studios so he could start forming new bands and kind of just increasing the kind of equity of his studio, I guess. So fifth question asks, what what themes does it consider? So the major theme of the performance I felt was to expose people to the beauty of the Caribbean music, as well as just showcase the versatility of the steel drums as an instrument. Not many instruments I know could be so versatile as to play Amazing Grace and Country Roads. You know. Sixth question asks, how does this relate to any topics we've discussed in this class or other classes? Or um, this kind of relates because this relates to Tolstoy's idea of, you know, what good art is, and good art is something that infects an individual. And for me, that's what steel drum performance is it always leaves me in a good mood. It really infects me, and I consider it good art. And then I guess next is the the ability of active listening and just employing that, which is something we just learned in this lecture this past week. Um, just the idea that to really get the meaning out of something, you kind of have to focus and remove yourself from distractions, and that's kind of showcased with steel drums because you need to kind of take yourself out for a minute, and then everyone has their own unique takeaway from listening to the songs. Seventh question asks asks how does this piece relate to any other work you've experienced? So this kind of relates to one other experience I've had. I was actually in the Dominican Republic on vacation, and I heard one of the artists they brought in did an amazing steel drum performance, and there was a lot of the same melodies and tempos and dynamics were played within with his performance and the performance I went to in watching my mom play. Um, and then eighth question is how do elements of the piece fit and work together? So the elements of the songs that they performed work very well together. In almost all the songs, there's a lot of repetition of measures and certain parts. There's a lot of changes in dynamic and also tempo and tension release. Tension release is a big part of steel drums. It's really evident. So I think the best thing I could do is just show you guys this. So I'm going to be posting a YouTube video of one of my mom's band's newer songs that they have been rehearsing in their practices. So the ninth and final question asks, does our discussion of gender roles fit into your experience of the performance? I don't really think it does because the steel drum community in music is for everyone to experience. It doesn't really favor one sex over the other. It's just a really inclusive environment, and it's just an awesome experience. So I just want to say thank you guys for listening. As I said earlier, if you're interested in maybe hearing what steel drums sound like, I'm going to be posting a YouTube video about one of my mom's newer songs that they're learning how to play. And then they also have a concert coming up on July 9th at the Morgantown Farmers Market at 3 p.m. So if any of y'all are really interested, come check it out. It's just a great experience. Hope you guys have an awesome rest of summer and hope to see some of you guys on campus.